As manager of Chelsea Football Club, I've called this press conference to announce that we want you, the fans at home and abroad, to support someone else.
Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You don't know what time it is. It's time for your Bournemouth versus Chelsea preview, and another day goes by, another day, another dollar without Pochettino appointed. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's been abandoned, neglected, kidnapped. I don't know what's going on, but I need this guy to be announced immediately, and I'm still waiting. Now hopefully it's just the finer details that are being discussed and negotiated, probably more so on Pochettino's side, considering the mess that we're in every single game that goes by. I feel like he should run for the hills, but I'm really hoping that this gets concluded and sorted as soon as possible, because I don't really know what the options are after Pochettino, and I don't really want to find out. So big up your damn selves in the building. Let's get straight into the preview. Obviously, Todd Boehly had some words of wisdom, it seems, yesterday in his quotes. Listen, I keep saying it. My stance on Todd Boehly is clear now. You know, he's made a lot of mistakes in this first year. He seems to have understood that, and he's saying that he's trying to learn from his mistakes in terms of, you know, understanding the different markets. He's mentioned the German, the Portuguese, the French market, you know, understanding the dynamics of the fact that this is a global game, and that you can't just bring in 9-10 players in one window and expect them to all be integrated. Silva's obviously spoken about the upheaval, you know, the medicals. We've seen physios coming back that have already been sacked. So there's no point dwelling on the past too much. The season is pretty much finished. It is done ski. We're still waiting for them 40 points, which I don't actually think we're going to collect coming up this Saturday. More likely, and really our only hope, is Nottingham Forest at home the following Saturday. But you know, this season is done, and the best thing that he could do now is appoint Pochettino, in my opinion, then move forward with cutting and trimming down the squad with Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. And then after that, you can try and address a couple, and I really do mean a couple of key positions. I don't like what I'm reading at the moment. I really don't. I'm looking at Carney. I'm hearing that Carney could be going out on loan. I think the treatment of Carney has been an absolute disgrace. I really do. This is a talented player that has been devoided of any involvement and any game time and any minutes, despite making some positive cameos. What is the point of shelling out 20 million on this player, on Quesadilla on loan at Reading? You know, what's the point in shelling out 40 million combined on these young players from last summer if you're not even going to integrate the one that you've kept in the first team? Lewis Hall, we haven't seen much of him. You know, this is a dead season, and I thought Frank Lampard would come in here and he would implement, you know, some young players, and he'd put some young players at the forefront, which is what he did the first time while he was here, to prepare for Poch, to allow these young players to kind of try to gain some chemistry, some understandings, so when Poch comes, it acts and contributes as an extended pre-season, and make it very clear that it's not a clean slate, and it is players that are not involved, that are looking to move. Ziyech, that was on, you know, deadline day, going to PSG, coming off the bench, wasting time, wasting our minutes. Again, what's the point? It's just, we're not doing anything constructive with this time, and that's one of my biggest gripes with Frank Lampard right now, is he doesn't seem to be trying to help us prepare for next season as an interim should. He seems to be potentially maybe looking out for himself and his own reputation, and going extremely negative in some of the setups and whatnot to try and claw some points together, and it's backfiring because you're not getting any points and we're not making any progress. So for me, this Bournemouth game, my team will speak volumes for what I would like to see in terms of the future, in terms of giving people an opportunity that are actually part of the future for the team next season, or even if they're going to go out on loan, at least we can see what level they're playing at and what their current moment in ability is saying. When it comes down to Bournemouth, guys, they've won 4 out of their last 5. Bournemouth are billing, yeah? They're cashing checks. And let me tell you something. That 3-2 defeat at the Emirates, that 1-0 win at home to Anfield, that win away from home to Tottenham, that, you know, they are really, really stamping their authority on climbing out of the relegation zone. And now they're at a position where they could easily leapfrog us. They're at a point where if they win on Saturday, which I think going into this game, they're definitely favourites. I never thought I'd ever say this. They're our bogey team even when we're good, let alone when we're crap. Bournemouth are favourites for this game, obviously. I think that goes without saying. And if they beat us, they go above us. That's another team that hits 40 points. We drop to 13th. And then it's Wolves and West Ham next. we're in a spiral of just L after L after L. The momentum is only losing and languishing in treacherous areas of the table. And for me, I don't see this improving. I really don't. I'm struggling with Frank Lampard here because, that lineup against Arsenal, fantastic. We got some attackers. But Badiashile, I saw some comments on Badiashile. What has Badiashile done wrong? Where is this guy? Where is he? Why is he not getting any game time? He couldn't even come off the bench against Arsenal. This was one of our best January signings when he came in terms of his performances. He came into that back line, he brought stability, he brought calmness, composure, gave us clean sheets. And for some reason now, yes, he wasn't in the Champions League squad, but he now is no longer involved. It feels like, according to Frank Lampard, in terms of the way that he's speaking, anyone who was excluded from the Champions League squad is basically paying the price in the Premier League because he was so focused on Real Madrid and trying to get us to go through that competition that he played the players that were available in the Champions League in the Premier League to try and put them all together. Well, newsflash, we're out of the Champions League now. We're out of the Champions League now. We were out of the Champions League after the first leg, and we definitely was when I saw that 3-6-1 set up at Stamford Bridge with Havertz and Gallagher up top. So it's time to forget about the Champions League. I don't want to hear about it no more. I don't want to hear about who is excluded, who wasn't assigned for Champions League fixtures. Champions League's been gone. That felt like, a month ago? 2 months ago? I don't even know. Champions League gone, finished. Let's focus on Premier League now. Let's focus on Premier League. And he's one of those players that should be getting an opportunity. So I don't understand that. He needs to be playing. I want to see him in this team. I have him in my team. And like I said, with Bournemouth, they're calling the shots right now. They're scoring goals and they're applying that pressure. For me, the way that we're playing at the moment, it's going to be a struggle. But at least can I see Madueke, who had a positive goal there against Arsenal. Can I at least see Mudryk, who, despite getting that laser shone in his eye, he managed to take on Ben White and cause a couple of problems here and there. Definitely did 10 times more than Sterling did. Sterling had an absolutely atrocious game against Arsenal. Cover. I know he got a great assist. Enzo. However, the way that they defended for the Odegaard first goal, letting the ball go through your legs, not tracking the runner, it's inexcusable, it's shambolic, and it's embarrassing. So, there needs to be consequences here, and we need to start seeing some fresh faces, and we need to start seeing people that are definitely here, definitely committed to the cause. These names that I'm reeling off in Cover and Sterling and Ziyech coming on and Aubameyang even starting, although at this point I basically feel sorry for this guy because he ain't really gonna work, is he? I already knew that from the beginning, but it's very evident that this guy's head is not here, and I can't even blame him, to be honest. The treatment has been rough for him over the last 12 months. But for us, we need to be focusing on the future now, and we can't be carrying passengers. We can't be carrying players that are not involved mentally, physically, not here with us. For me, at this point, I would like to see even Felix tried as a false nine. If you're going to have Madueke and Mudryk on the wings, which is for me how it should be until the end of the season, those two should be playing on the wings. No conversation about it. Madueke at times showed some positive actions, taking on a couple of players. Mudryk the same. Those two should be playing left and right wing to the end of the season. No qualms, no questions. I would try Felix up there purely because we haven't tried that yet. He could maybe play the Firmino role where he drops in and he does try to link up and he does try to, maybe get Madueke and Mudryk being inside forwards and trying to get goals. They're not brilliant finishers. They need to be coached. That's what Poch is for. However, it's something a little bit different to the norm. You could go Kai. At this point, it's just one frustrating player for another. But you may as well go with one of these guys. Fofana, I keep speaking about it. This guy he's not even on the bench, so he's just not going to get any game time. It's as simple as that. I've given up on that situation. He's going to be going on loan, I'm sure, in the summer. It is what it is. And that, if you play Felix a little bit higher up and you don't play him in that 10, then defensively, his lack of contribution or his lack of, know how to actually defend and make tackles and win 50-50s becomes less of a problem because all he needs to do up there is cut out passing lanes and try and press a DM potentially, but that's about it. In terms of what's behind him now, listen, you could play a 3, you could play a 4 at the back. At this point, the team we know is more catered to a 3. We know that we don't have Reece James. And I really don't like seeing Azpilicueta at right back or right wing back or just on the pitch in general. I think he's a massive liability. He doesn't bring anything to the team in build-up. He doesn't even bring anything to the team defensively. Defensively, he's getting outpaced, he's getting dragged, and yeah, like I said, on the ball, he's just limited. So I don't need to see Azpilicueta again. I've said it many times. I know we don't have a right back. Trevor could get skinned out there. Fofana maybe could get skinned out there as well. He's dropped off a bit, but listen, I believe in Fofana's capabilities. I think we've seen enough from him since he come back from injury that he's a quality player. I would just go for Fofana, Thiago Silva, Badiashile, and Chilwell. You know, that's the back four that I've been trying to get going for the last 2-3 weeks personally. And yes, it can shuffle across. You can go to a back three, Chilwell push up as a wing back, Mudryk, you know, up there as well to give him some support, tucking in, maybe, you know, inverting as an inside forward. But you've got Badiashile, Silva, and you've got Fofana as like your back three as your base. And obviously Kante and Enzo ahead. Again, Enzo was poor against Arsenal, but at least you know that he is part of the future with Poch, and you know, you have to. You're basically building around Enzo. You can't spend that kind of money and not build around him. And I still have the confidence that this guy is gonna be brilliant under a competent manager. Loftus-Cheek can come into this conversation because of his wing-back expertise. If you wanted to go with wing-backs and you want to play Loftus-Cheek as a right wing-back, Chilwell as a left wing-back, but like I said, I want to be able to be flexible between the 3 and the 4 because I know Pochettino is most likely going to play a 4. This team needs to learn how to start playing with a 4. We don't have the midfield balance to play with a 4 consistently, and that's why I've got that little bit of an opportunity where you can potentially switch to a 3. And Madueke, to be fair to him, I know he's not a wing back and I'd never want to see him there. But if you are shuffling across, Madueke has shown in that last game he's very hard working. He did get back and help Azpilicueta a lot. He did pick up the ball in deeper areas and he didn't look too bad. And he's capable of skipping past a couple of players here and there as well in those areas. So it's not the worst thing in the world, I don't think. Listen, it's not ideal, but like I said, you know, it's all we have at the moment. But guys, I'm not confident going into this game. Frank Lampard, his quotes, they're along the bottom of the screen. I'm not going to read them out. He doesn't really speak like as if he plans on getting us results. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't speak like he plans on turning this around. He's just it looks like he's just going through the motions, if I'm completely honest. This is not the Frank Lampard that I've come accustomed to from the first spell. It's a completely different man. It's almost like as if, you know, Will Smith's come and flipped the switch. I don't know who this guy is. I don't recognise. I am not familiar with your game. I don't know who you are. And yeah, the sooner that this ends, the better. I just want the season to be concluded and just move on into the summer and have an absolute yard sale, absolute lemonade stand, I'm telling you, of players out the door. So for me, I think we're going to lose the game. I'm going to go 2-1 Bournemouth if you want my honest prediction. If you want to be hopeful, a point max. But like I said, Lampard is not talking like somebody who plans on changing things. He's saying that he's not actually that affected by the results and it's not hurting him as much as, I don't know what's going on with them quotes that I'm reading there. I'm not going to lie to you. It's wild. It's pure wild. If it was someone else that was saying this, they would be absolutely dragged to Kingdom Come. But because it's Frank Lampard, he gonna get away with it. I don't really care, to be honest, at this point. You know, I've separated player from manager, but manager I really don't like. Manager Frank Lampard, I really am starting to not like. Player will always be protected as a legend. He's done what he's done. That can't be tainted. I saw it in person. That helps. If you're a younger Chelsea fan, as I said on All You Can Eat Chelsea, and you didn't get to see it in person, then your view of him may not be the same. But his legendary status is so great that once he goes, the songs will still get sung. But when it comes to the manager, I don't like. No accountability, not taking responsibility, and just cowardly in the approach. For most of these matches since he's been here, and he's potentially going to go 007 like James Bond at Bournemouth, and I would be surprised if he didn't, to be honest. So I don't know if there's ever been a worse run for a Chelsea manager at this football club. I don't think there is. I think this is probably the worst run I've ever seen, and it's a shame that it's coming from him. So yeah, that's all I've got to say, guys, on the Bournemouth game. We're still waiting on the Poch news. I have nothing more to say on Poch until he's arrived. You know what my stance is on the situation. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let me know your team as well. And yeah, listen, Loftus-Cheek or Carney in that midfield. I don't think Carney will play because of the lack of minutes he's been given so far. If he does start, he's going to be incredibly rusty. If you play Loftus-Cheek, he can move to wing back. That third midfield spot is up for grabs. You let me know in the comments down below what you think and feel. Until then, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.